Well, why don't we call the Center County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Those of you who are able to stand, please do so. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I wonder where Gary is. I was following him in about 15 minutes ago. All right. Well, is there any public comment on items that are not appearing on today's agenda? I see we have a couple of public in the room today. No? All right. We will move on. Are there any additions to the agenda? No? All right. We will move on to the meeting minutes. The board will consider approving the minutes from the Board of Commissioners meeting held on January 3rd. Are there any changes or alterations to those minutes? All right. If we could have a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the minutes from our meeting held on January 3rd, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. I think we got a unanimous on that one. We'll move on to contracts and authorizations. I think John will be handling an item for elections.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Before you is a contract renewal with Phoenix Graphics to provide absentee and mail-in ballot printing and mailing services for the 2023 primary. The contract total is estimated at $21,000 for the period of March 15th through July 1st of 2023. For some context, separate printing, Grove Printing will send out mailers by February 1st. Approximately 20,000 were sent out for the last primary. Of those 20,000, roughly half come back requesting ballots to be sent. So for the 22 primary, we sent out 10,500 ballots and received back roughly 9,000. So out of 20,000 inquiries, 10,500 received ballots, 9,000 are received. So we are requesting the contract approval for Phoenix Graphics for the actual ballot printing.
So we're getting on this quickly. Sort of be toward the front of the line. I know there's various shortages out there and long lead times. Mr. Clay?
Yeah, Phoenix has been great to work with. We've partnered with them, and we went from doing it in-house to working with them, and they've been fantastic, really great. So looking forward to having the county still utilize them in the future.
Chair of Elections Board, Mr. Gershon?
All good with me?
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Well, can we have a motion to add the contract with Phoenix Graphics Incorporated to next week's consent agenda?
I'll make the motion to add it to next week's consent agenda.
All right, all those in favor, do so by saying
Aye.
aye. Aye. I think we have another unanimous on that one. Move on to the next page. We have the something for planning and community development, rate schedules from Franson Engineering and Surveying. I think Ray's handling that one.
Good morning, Commissioners. We have two items. The first item up for your consideration is a update to the 2023 rate schedule for Don Franson. Don works with our staff on subdivision and land development review through his engineering services. His fees are outlined within the agenda, and this is a 5-year change. His original request was back in 2018 for the rates outlined, and basically what this increase equates to is a $10 increase per hour for his professional engineering services, technician 2 services. Mileage increases by 10 cents per mile, and meeting attendance is increased by $10 to $85 an hour. This is a pass-through between the applicant and the county or municipality when it comes to these land development reviews. So there is really a cost that's shared between the developer and Don's services for helping and assisting our office make sure that these plans are in compliance with land development and subdivision ordinance requirements.
That sounds great. I don't know, the rates look fairly reasonable. Commissioner Pike?
Longtime partner with the county as our engineer. Don's been great, and looking forward to continuing this. Yeah.
I don't think the numbers that are reflected here indicate
right.
Yeah,
Yep.
that'd be my guess. All right.
Just one other item I wanted to add, that Don strictly works with municipal governments and with the county. So the chance of him creating a conflict of interest between the review of a land development and developer, he does not represent developers. He only represents the municipalities and county at this point.
Yeah. All right, if we could have a motion to approve the 2023 rate schedule with Branson Engineering and Survey.
All right, I'll move to approve the 2023 rate schedule.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Another unanimous. All right. I believe, Ray, you're still up here, and I think Chris may be joining you?
We have Kochi here for the MOU.
Okay, all right.
As our transportation planner. We received an annual update to our memorandum of understanding with the Center County MPO and the Center County Regional Planning Agency that establishes joint rights and responsibilities of each party in completing transportation and project development activities on behalf of Center County MPO. The county contribution for the MPO this year under the MOU is $152,278 for the period of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st of 2023. Included with that is that we do supply the CRPA with reimbursement to PennDOT for any staff time on other eligible costs that are incurred, and that has a maximum of $92,790. So on a quarterly basis, we bill for all of our hours as planning staff on any transportation projects that we are helping with the MPO.
Anything else, Ray or Coach?
Just a lot of the work that is tied to this is with the Uniform Planning Work Program for 2022 through 2024. So we follow that with the MPO and with the CRPA staff.
Yeah, for those at home, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, great group. It does transportation planning throughout all of Center County. We have a lot of feedback from the Center Region municipalities. The county appoints most of the rest of the board. And every year they spend something like, what, $7 or $8 million? I think it's
It has increased recently, but yeah, millions, tens of millions,
tens
yeah.
of millions in the short term to keep all of our local roads and especially bridges in great condition. Mike, anything else to add?
No, I just say excited to have Kochi joining the MPO. There was a strategic planning sessions that have been held, and so the work coming out of those will really to help to inform the future of the MPO, especially with the bipartisan infrastructure law, putting billions of dollars back into funds. It'll be really, really good to have that to really tackle future projects. Yeah.
Steve?
I just think it makes sense to continue to work with the MPO because they are the ones ultimately that determine transportation funding and kind of the prioritization of projects and the TIP and all the other things that occur. So I think it makes sense to keep that relationship and keep it strong. So.
Commissioner Pike is correct with the bipartisan infrastructure law. There's a whole lot more money coming down for transportation, and we need to be prepared. We need to have the plans in place, and it's an overused phrase, but obviously if we are shovel-ready, we might receive funding. Other places that are not shovel-ready won't be able to pull down that funding.
And on that note,
Yeah.
one of the big projects that we're going to start this year is the long-range plan. It's 30 months out, so we'll be starting that this spring. So it's a good opportunity for municipalities to keep in mind those projects that they want to add onto that and hopefully get funded at some point so that we can make those projects shovel-ready when that funding is available.
Great point, Coach. Thank you. Well, may we have a motion then?
Sure, happily to do this, add the MOU to next week's consent agenda with the Center Region Planning Agency via the MPO.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, unanimous. I believe we bring up, thank you very much. Thanks, Ray. Thanks, Coachy. I believe we bring up Krista. Oh, there you are, okay. For an item for risk management about a renewal application to the Pennsylvania County's risk pool.
Yes, good morning, everyone. So I come before you today to ask for an approval and a signature on an application that we want to submit to our insurance carrier. Each year, Pennsylvania County's risk pool asks their members to provide an extensive report on our properties, our vehicles, our services, and our payroll. And then once they collect all that information from all the members, then they establish our rates. Our renewal will start in June of this year, so we're just doing homework at this point. So the application is ready, it just needs a commissioner's signature, chairman's signature, and that's what I'm asking for approval for.
And again, for those at home, the Pennsylvania County Risk Pool is affiliated with the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania. They specialize in county risks, which can be quite different than, say, a regular corporation's risks. Great partner with the county, and we work with a local insurance broker that helps give us expertise with that organization. Any other comments, Mike?
No, great partner throughout the many, many years we've been with them, absolutely.
Sounds good.
All right. Can we have a motion then?
Sure, I'll make the motion.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the submission of a renewal application to the county's insurance carrier, the Pennsylvania County's Risk Pool. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. We'll move over to John for another transportation item for liquid fuels to assist Bellefonte Borough.
Thank you. Before you is for consideration of approval is a fee for local use application for Bellefonte Borough in the amount of $25,000 for improvements in paving to Spring Street in the amount of $25,000.
Wonderful. That street does have some very steep parts. So, Mike, any additional comments? Steve, it's your home borough.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. Well, can we have a motion then?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, a second, to approve $25,000 of the fee for local use for the Borough of Bellefonte for Spring Street improvements and paving. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. All right, now we'll move on to the consent agenda. It's very short one. I think it's pulling anything out. Okay. All right, can we have a motion?
Motion to approve today's consent agenda.
All right, we have a motion and a second for today's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, unanimous. We'll move on to a check run, substantially larger than usual, and in a bit of a switch of roles here, I think it's Commissioner Pipes' turn.
Absolutely. I did want to highlight the capital projects line item for our check run today. It comes in at $151,386.50. We're paying some bills to Massaro, our construction firm, who's really helping us hugely at Centercrest. Also Watkins Security, who's continually doing work at the courthouse to enhance the security access points there. And finally, Altoona Roofing, who was doing the work right above us on the roof here. So just wanted to highlight about $150,000 of projects. And I'll make the motion to approve today's check run dated on January 6th, 2023.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve today's check run. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to a discussion item for our responsible contractor ordinance, which provides the adoption of procedures relating to the award of Center County government contracts. And I'm not sure if that's going to be Betsy, John, or both.
I'll turn it over to Betsy to introduce this ordinance. We started out with some template language, and our solicitor, Betsy Dupuis, has modified it, crafted it for Center County's purposes.
Yeah, so several of you requested that we draft something for your consideration. The ordinance in front of you is probably closest to the Dauphin County ordinance, which is probably the most recently adopted of these ordinances by counties. We did look at several ordinances that were used by minor governments, so boroughs and townships. We did not get into the City of Reading ordinance because I think that was a little more, several other different purposes. So we thought the Dauphin ordinance was the best choice to go with. I noted in the draft that you have in front of you at several junctures where it deferred or differed a little bit from the ordinance in Bucks County. The Bucks County ordinance is probably the oldest ordinance. It's now been already amended. And so these were original, one of these, I think, was in the original ordinance and one was in the amended ordinance. But suffice it to say that the ordinance itself is designed for projects. I think our threshold in here is $250,000. Obviously, the board can decide where that wants to go in terms of the threshold. Anything under that, this ordinance would not apply. Only projects for Center County government. This is not for other governments in the county. This is just Center County government projects. And then when you get into, I wanted the board, and certainly those of you that have followed this a little more closely, to look closely at the apprenticeship language. I think, the goal here is to try to encourage that among contractors. I think, one of the questions may be to reach out to contractors, even those that are already working on county projects, about what programs they do offer and what programs are available. Keep in mind that the bulk of the ordinances we're looking at are in markets that are larger markets, in the sense that they have, certainly the Bucks, Montgomery County area and Reading area, they have a broader pool to pull from. They typically have multiple technical schools, whereas we only really have two, if you count the State College program and CPI. So there may be some need to adjust that depending on where that goes. And then the other area of question really related to, in the Dauphin ordinance, they called it emergencies. In the Berks ordinance, they called it a waiver provision. But the thought that if you had a project that required you to go outside this ordinance just because of the timing, and I'm thinking now about our project at the courthouse that we'll have to do, that you might want to have the ability of this board or a future board to say, this exceeds, we need to not follow this ordinance for this project because we need to get things in place much more quickly. So those are two primary considerations. I would note for the board's purposes that for the bulk of it, the contractor responsibility provisions that are in here pretty much match what the Commonwealth requires. So for your staff that's out there that deals with all the Commonwealth grant monies and requirements, they're already seeing that. I mean, every one of your human services contracts has the same thing. And the debarment process is still under the Commonwealth. There's a whole process by which contractors are debarred from being able to do, and that's not just construction contractors, that's human service contractors, it's anybody can be debarred by the Commonwealth under their contractor integrity process. So I'll open it up to questions from you.
Sure, and maybe some comments and just some clarity afterwards is, I appreciate the board and our solicitor getting this on the agenda because it's been something that many of us have really been wanting to work on, and now that we're coming to the conclusion of the design work that's being done at Centercrest, I really felt personally that this was something that we should have prior to going out for those bids. Centercrest renovations will be the largest that we've done in the county's history in quite some time, probably since the Willowbank building was renovated, and there will be a lot of moving parts, a lot of different contractors that will be on site there. We think about the prison project that was brand new construction, but this is going to be renovations. And we have unfortunately had in Center County a lot of worker deaths. And we want to make sure, I think, as the county, to have as many skilled workers and safety as paramount on these job sites that we're going to have at the courthouse, again, Willowbank and the courthouse in the coming years. And really felt that the work that Dauphin County, Bucks County, and Northampton County had done on their ordinances really laid a lot of good groundwork. Their thresholds, I would note, are lower, and that's fine for their counties, but this $250,000 threshold would really allow the county to be in a good position for, again, larger construction projects that we have a long runway for, again, Centercrest being the first and foremost. But as things change and as we get feedback from the contractors in the area, it would be certainly good to look at this. But I think most of the language in here, everybody is going to agree with the fact that we want safe job sites, good training, and ultimately being able to come under budget and on time on projects. So I think this really sets up the county for good future. And again, I'd asked for it to be on here as a discussion item, appreciating the fact that there may be some additional conversations, including our incoming commissioner, Concepcion, that may want to put her 2 cents into this coming into future meetings. But I really felt it was important to put this on before my departure, so I'll make those comments. Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
My one question is Section 3, Number 10, where it indicates that 70% of the craft labor workforce shall be comprised of either journeyman workers who have successfully completed an apprenticeship, et cetera, et cetera. What does that transfer to in common speak?
Well, it essentially means that you're encouraging these contractors to have brought people up through an apprenticeship training type program. What I can't answer for you without talking to them is what does their current workforce look like and what is realistically happening out there. In markets where we have many more work-related unions, so I'm now going to say Allegheny County, Philadelphia County, surrounding counties, most of those individuals would go through a journeyman process. I can't answer that. We don't have unions.
Is this restricting non-union corporations?
Well, I don't know that it restricts them. It just means that they have to have found people that are working for them that come out of that process. Or they have an apprenticeship or training program of their own. So, I'm not.
I'm struggling with that.
I understand that, and I really think that it ought to be a conversation with some of the contractors that you are working with, because one of the things that Commissioner Pipe and I actually discussed was you don't want to create a circumstance where this means that the personnel, the contractors who can bid on this project are not going to have Center County residents working for them. And so that's a real legitimate question. I don't know if somebody from the board wants to reach out to ABC, which is the Associated Builder Contractors. They're probably the most likely group, but you also, each of you know contractors in the community that you can talk to and ask them. And that's why this is the Dauphin language. In the column is the Bucks language, which more talks about not so much saying you have to have 70%, but you're going to have an apprenticeship program. You're going to have a program by which an individual could come on and be trained to do certain, and I do think many of our local contractors do have that, meaning that they bring people in.
Yeah, my concern is that it restricts non-union contractors from competing in these discussions. I think I want that clarified before.
And I think there may be a play here to be asking even someone at CPI, because when I think of the plumbers that the young people, and your newest board member has great experience with the State College program, many of them get their training in an educational setting in this community as opposed to on the job. So that may also be something that we really want to consider. Because these contractors may say, well, we would have an apprenticeship program, but we go over to CPI and we hire our heavy equipment operators from CPI, and they already have the training in that program, so.
A true apprenticeship program, and it's entirely, and it mentions the word journeyman, which is the structure of unionized
right.
labor. And that needs to be clarified, because there are many non-union contractors in our community that would not qualify to this, and I think we need to square that away, because I will be defiant on this if it eliminates our non-union folks from competing.
Absolutely.
This is not, I don't want to run into the same circumstance that former Governor Randell, when they were trying to build the Better Township facility. I was not in favor of that either, and they wanted all union labor to, and I support the concept of union. I have a degree in labor studies. I get it, but I also don't want to eliminate a fair, even playing field for the folks that are non-union in our community. So I'm going to need some clarification on that before I can support this.
And just to offer a point on that, some of the ordinances that do exist out there have 100% of the workforce needs to fit into this. This one is 70%, so that threshold's been lowered. In addition, I think the tension on this and the continued conversations that would occur is based upon worker safety. We have had deaths in the community of individuals who have not been trained. We just had the federal government.
Nothing that guarantees even
No,
even a unionized individual can't be harmed in the workplace. I get all that.
Absolutely, but there's feedback from the community saying, what's the county going to do when it comes to Centercrest and when it comes to other projects to make sure that worker safety is in place. In addition, we have a challenge in getting some employees to work on sites. And if we can ensure that these people are the most trained and contractors aren't just bringing people in from out of state to work on these jobs and they have no familiarity with the work they're doing, that's a concern. So it's finding that balance in there, because I don't think we want unskilled people working on job sites and untrained people working on these job sites. So it's just setting that threshold, so.
I
Yeah.
guess my concern is we have major contractors in Center County that are not union affiliated, that I don't want to shut them out of the contracting.
And just to be clear, the way this is stated is if they've gone through other apprenticeship programs or registered through the Department of Labor, so we're just looking for a level playing field of training programs that there's an expectation there. And also, I think, we would be curious to know why contractors wouldn't want to be putting their folks through safety programs. But again, it's on for discussion today. I just wanted to make my position aware of that, but again, it's for the future board to discuss.
And I can appreciate the fact that we need to have skilled labor. I appreciate that. But at the same time, it can't be so limiting that it shuts contractors out. We have, for instance, Hawbaker here in Center County, which is a non-union shop, but at the same time, they have quality, capable individuals working there, and I would hate to eliminate them as a possible contractor on future projects.
And maybe that language that you
And that's an
referenced, Mike, can be adjusted once we've talked to CPI, because I'm going to guess that they're not considered a state apprenticeship agency, and yet most of our plumbers, HVAC, are coming out, you can talk to those contractors, they're coming directly out of that program through training and also programs that State College has. And that, I don't know, maybe your newest commissioner, Amber, will know what those are, but I think it would be useful, since I'm pretty sure every young person that's graduating now from CPI has pretty much got their pick of the litter of jobs. And they're well-trained, and I do know from my experience working with the home builders that the programs that come in and verify that, both the home builders and the state have programs for certain things. Those are not probably going to be called apprenticeships in that use of the term. So there may be some language adjustments as well, once we get that sorted out.
There's going to have to be for my support of this, and again, I'm vehement about that. I do not want to shut anybody out. So
All right, so Steve, it's about a 10-page document.
this is the first time I've read it, so.
Oh, okay, all right.
I have not had an opportunity, but I will read it
All right.
thoroughly. But just looking at
Okay.
section 3, number 10, it's pretty clear what the direction of that is, in my humble opinion, so, and I think that needs to be clarified.
All right. So certainly we need to also appreciate incoming Commissioner Concepcion's view on this. In my view, I want people working on this project know what they're doing. I don't want this to be the very first time they've touched tile or brick or plumbing or electrical. And if we can work with CPI and State High School program, I know there's a lot of programs surrounding Center County, like places like Clearfield County for the
And Penn
carpenters.
College.
And Penn College that have great programs. But if somebody's doing a $30 million renovation project for Center County government, I'd prefer if they were a Pennsylvanian, and I'd prefer that this is not the very, very first time they've done whatever it is they're doing in our facility. So we'll work with you, Steve, on the wording, add some of the local programs. But yeah, I definitely want us to have people who have had training and who know what they're doing when we're giving a contractor a large hunk of $30 million to utilize, to build a facility that we may be in for 50, 60, 70 years.
I would hope that any qualified contractor would have the wherewithal to hire trained individuals, because when you're hiring people at prevailing wage, it's not an insignificant amount of money. So I just think we need to clarify that.
I wish that was always the case, Steve, but I know of a number of organizations that have hired qualified contractors where the buildings have literally collapsed during construction. And I don't think any of those was a union project. Obviously, there is quality training available in a non-union fashion, and we can work to incorporate that in here. But I want us to have responsible contractors who aren't, who haven't defrauded clients, I want us to have contractors who train people before they actually do any of the work. And multiple other counties have these type of ordinances in place. They seem to be able to get building projects done, and everybody's getting paid prevailing wage. So let's have people who are preferably Pennsylvanians who know what they're doing on the project. All right, so I think at this point, we will, since it is a discussion item, there wasn't any action on it. So we'll work with, I'm assuming John, since you have such a strong background in construction, to reach out to the various organizations.
Talking about somebody who's touched brick and,
Yes.
we have yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we won't have you do the break.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I know you do a great job. All right, so we'll work with county staff, we'll contact ABC, CPI, State High, and some of the training programs in terms of like Penn College and the Carpenters over in Clearfield, so that those programs might potentially also qualify under this, what is it here? Is it Section 3, Betsy?
Yeah, I think it's section.
Section 3,
Subsection 10.
subsection 10.
And it's just the way in which we define apprenticeship training programs. And again, I think we might want to just look at that.
There needs to be some clarification in my humble opinion, that you have trained people that have gone to trade school or somebody who's gone through X amount of on-the-job training, because there's a lot of folks out there that are brilliant at what they do that have come up through the ranks and have never been part of a quote-unquote organized, but I think the amount of quality time on the job is what we should be looking for.
I'd like to see some paperwork on that, though, Steve. Definitely want to see some paperwork.
The balance, yeah.
Trust but verify, Steve. Trust but verify.
I know a lot of folks that are very, very, very good at what they do, that learned it over a course of
Right.
decades.
And this says 30% of the staff could have that kind of background. We'd like to see paperwork on the other 70-ish or so. But again, it's a discussion. We're going to broaden potentially the possible programs that would qualify.
Okay, as long as it's
yeah.
fair and reasonable,
All right. Great. Any other discussion on the responsible contractor ordinance proposal?
No, just again, I appreciate the discussion. I think this is really healthy, the fact that there's a difference of opinion on this, and really appreciate the work that Betsy's done to get it here and bring this before us. So best of luck to Commissioner Concepcion with this discussion.
Yes.
So we wanted to give her a preview of it today, so.
Thankfully, she's
yeah.
got a background in this field. They do larger projects than we do
Absolutely.
at
Yep.
the school districts.
Absolutely.
All right, so then I think we'll move on to a letter of support, which is Liz, possibly Peter from Planning. Letter of support to the Federal Communications Commission, Senator Casey, Senator Fetterman, Congressman Thompson, about extending the broadband map challenge deadline, and then an update for the folks at home.
Yeah, thank you. At your December 21st meeting, there was that initial push with the realization that the broadband map deadline was fast approaching, and it is this Friday, January 13th. We had internal discussion and a request about getting our ideas on paper, capturing our experiences. So I want to give Peter and Nick Barger, who's in the audience, thank you very much. They did an exceptional job of capturing the technical barriers that counties and local governments are having. We did such an amazing job that we sat back and we looked at this experience that we captured and we said, we have to communicate this upward. So that is the purpose of these letters. With the FCC and the NTIA, they're getting a very technical letter, and that's a demonstration that we have gone in and out through this website and done our due diligence. To our congressional and senators, they are already making accolades. They are reaching out to the FCC. Whether or not they will extend the deadline, will they open it up again, we don't know. But this is really, again, our demonstration that we've done our due diligence, realizing that, we're resourceful and we have resources here. So we just want to communicate this up so that they know what our position is. So with that, I know that you probably have an announcement that you want to reiterate.
Yes.
We do want to reiterate to the public that you have 3 days to challenge the map. Please get online. This is your time to put yourself on the map. So it's the most accurate information that we have.
So, I'll take over for a minute. I'll pass it back to you because I see Peter has a document too.
Yes, yeah, we have other exciting news.
Okay. So I want to just sort of have this below my face here. Is it big enough you can see it for CNET and for Gary? Maybe. All right. Biggest I could do in a couple of minutes. So the FCC has a map of every single structure in the United States. It's pretty close to perfect, probably the best map's ever been developed for something like that. When you go to this website, you just enter your street address. In my case, it popped up right away, was on the map. The one thing that's not obvious, once the map comes up, toward the upper right-hand corner is what looks like a gear. Peter's nodding. Looks like a gear. You need to click on that. And then you need to pick, what is the phrase? 100 by 25? 100 by 20, the 100 by 20 option, and that'll show you if, according to the major suppliers, if you actually have decent internet in your neighborhood. Chances are they'll say you do. And yet we know there are thousands of families and small businesses in Center County that do not have high-quality internet, or even in some cases, any internet at all. From there, then there's a couple more, much more obvious pull-downs for you to say, no, I do not receive speeds of 100 by 20 at my location or at my small business, and then you upload it. The more people that do that, statewide, but especially in Center County, the more money that the state of Pennsylvania will eventually receive. Hopefully then that will benefit you at your small business or your home. So we apologize for the tight time deadlines that, we're having to have you take 5 or 10 minutes out of a very busy time for you to double check to see what sort of internet the major telecom carriers think you have at your house that you really don't. But unfortunately, Peter and Nick have been working on this for a very long time. They know what they're doing, and we've just had a lot of difficulty in challenging thousands of locations within Center County. Anything else that we should add, Peter or Liz?
I would just add to that map. You see the drop-down menu. I think people tend to know what's available at your house. I can tell you from experience, Nick and I can tell you, is that Liz also, through our research and our study, there are certain providers who will claim that they service your house, who, in all honesty, don't. I mean, it's aspirational, perhaps. And they may have plans. They may very well have plans, but those plans could be so far out that it does not solve your problem anytime soon. So I would just encourage everyone to please, if someone does claim they service your house, try to do this survey in advance so that you can reach out to them. If you would like to receive an email, please request an email from them claiming that they can or cannot, and use that during your challenge process, because there actually are opportunities to upload emails, some notes from yourself. I think people at your own house, especially if you're struggling with internet, you've probably unfortunately wrestled with this for far too long and have probably exhausted most of your options. So please make your voice heard, double check, and verify.
Excellent. Thanks. And then I think you had another topic, Liz.
Just for your gentlemen's knowledge, we have in hand today the final report delivered from CTC Technology. It is not much different, aside from a couple additional cost estimations that we had requested of them to break out. You had the opportunity to meet in person with CTC to get the overview, so there are not significant changes to the document from what you had already seen. So we will be putting in an agenda request here shortly. We would like to move it to adoption when you're comfortable doing so.
Thanks. Mike? Steve? Good. All right. Well, thanks again to Liz, Peter, and Nick for all your hard work on this. We were, of course, hoping that we could upload thousands of locations based on Center County government data, but unfortunately, due to technical reasons that are a little difficult to explain, we just weren't able to do that. So we're now going to have to do a combination of asking for more time at the federal level and having our citizens have, unfortunately, 3 more days until the aptly chosen Friday the 13th to upload this data for their own individual homes and businesses. Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Now we move over to John for the administrator's report.
One moment on that, if you would like to, the suggested motion to approve letters petitioning the extension.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, John. Moving a little too fast. We have a motion to approve the letters petitioning the extension.
Okay. And there might be a question or two once we.
Question?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Gary.
It was about a year ago, the county did its own survey.
Yes.
And you have the consultant's report, is what the feds are asking now different, or can you just turn that information over to the feds?
Unfortunately, we're not able to turn that information over to the feds. One detail that will help, and Nick can maybe give me the numbers here, but Excel can only handle a spreadsheet that's 1,500,000 or so cells across, roughly, and the federal upload document requires something in the range of over 5 million cells. So we don't even have a software tool that would enable us to challenge the locations in Center County. That's just one partial example, unfortunately.
I'm just asking for some of my rural neighbors, the comment is, it seems like they keep asking these same questions, and yet we still have no improvement in service.
Yes. Now, thankfully, here in Center County, the commissioners created a public-private partnership that offered broadband to major portions of Penns Valley, portions of Nittany Valley, and portions of Georges Valley. Working with the state legislature, there were, Liz and Peter, roughly 6 areas in Center County that received some grants a little less than a year ago. So they'll be receiving some broadband. And then through a lot of effort, we worked with CEDACOG and the Appalachian Regional Commission to add a fiber optic line that will go roughly from Wingate into downtown Snowshoe and then as far toward Clarence as we can before the money runs out. So we have been working on that here in Center County. And I think, Liz, didn't that consultant say we're one of the most active in this of the 200 counties they work with nationwide?
Pardon me, I don't like to sit and yell in the background.
That's
Yeah,
all right. Good.
no, Center County, CTC gave us, they gave our residents kudos. We had one of the most active levels of participation, and that goes beyond the survey. Peter and I, we had a visitor on Friday, a gentleman from outside of Howard. He came in specifically, he does not have internet, yet he wanted to make sure that he was on the map for the FCC, challenge. So that speaks volumes to the level of engagement that our residents have.
Also offering this perspective, Gary, would be, it's fantastic to have hundreds of billions of dollars available at the federal level for broadband infrastructure, but it's safe to say that some of the developers and folks who are in this business are holding back any additional investments currently because they might be able to get some federal dollars, state dollars, that could offset their costs. And so there's a little bit of a contracting that's occurring in terms of the work that's being done. But in the same standpoint, they're able to upgrade current infrastructure, get that a little bit more improved. But you're absolutely right. Residents are getting, are hearing these multiple times, but this is really coming to a conclusion with the money that's going to be available in the coming years. So great work's being done, and it will be continued to be done in the future.
Are you proposing a new deadline date, or just asking that the deadline be extended?
Since it's a federal deadline, we're just asking that the deadline be extended. I believe Senator Casey's office has already sent a letter to the FCC.
Yeah, we had proposed falling in line with what their request had been, which was to mid-March.
And I believe also the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania has sent out multiple communications to the 237 commissioners statewide, asking them to advocate for roughly the same thing here. Additional time for counties and municipalities and school districts to work together to challenge the map in such a way that we can actually upload data for thousands of locations, whereas currently our options are one at a time. So we're going to need to rely on residents for that. Obviously, whatever happens, Center County government, Center County planning, the municipalities and school districts will all work together and do our best to get as much funding and availability as we can for Center County residents.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Very good questions. All right. Thanks for the catch, John. Sure. You have anything else, Mike?
I was going to say, I'll make the motion to approve the letters petitioning the extension of the broadband map challenge deadline.
All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the letters petitioning for the extension. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. Now we'll move over to John.
Thank you. As you know, the board passes a resolution every year which allows the county administrator to execute certain financial documents that are under a certain monetary threshold or perhaps a renewal. So today I'm reporting on the fourth quarter of 2022, any contract renewals that were approved by myself. There were 8 such authorizations performed during the fourth quarter, with individual monetary values ranging from $477 to $5,720. Of the 8 authorizations, 6 were software-related services or support renewals. Other items included a financial management service provided through Human Services and a security-related service renewal. The grand total of all expenditures authorized by the administrator in quarter 4 of 2022 was $16,359.48.
Thanks, John. Let me check, Steve, I know you're next, but let me check real quick with Mike. Was there anything you wanted to say, Mike, before Gary leaves?
Oh, no, he's okay.
He's all right?
okay. Yeah, I would think just before adjournment, I would like to offer some comments.
All right, okay. So back to Steve then with the voters registration report.
Okay, we have 99,788 registered voters in Center County as of this morning. That's up 19 voters from the last report. The roster appears as 42,089 Democratic registrations, 129 Green Party, 612 Libertarian, 13,263 no affiliation, and 40,576 Republican voters, which leads all others, all other party members at 3,119. I would like to recognize in alphabetical order the American Party. And the American Party registration in Center County is 1 registered voter, so we recognize the Americans, or the American, I should say.
Yes.
Okay. Also, I'd like to recognize the effort of Spring East number 86, precinct that votes at the First Baptist Church on Jacksonville Road in Bellefonte. And in the last election, there were total registered voters of 1,259, total ballots cast 882, which led to a percentage voter turnout of 70.06%, which is pretty significant, good turnout. I want to thank the First Baptist Church, all the folks down there, and also the folks that make it happen at the polling place on Election Day, and look forward to seeing you very soon. So there you have it.
Wonderful. Those were presidential turnout numbers, Steve.
Yeah.
Great numbers. All right, for our announcements, Center County Government offices will be closed on Monday, January 16th, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The Board of Commissioners meeting scheduled on Tuesday, January 17th, has been canceled due to inauguration events in Harrisburg. Let's see. Are there any executive sessions to report?
No executive sessions to report or hold.
Okay. Did you want to talk before public meeting or at the very, very, very end, Mike?
No, it's maybe at the end, if that's okay. Yeah.
Okay. So we have a Board of Commissioners meeting, work session, and other matters, 10 a.m. on Thursday, Salary Board roughly at the same time. The Commissioners meeting on the 17th has been canceled. We'll have our regularly scheduled Commissioners meeting on Tuesday, January 24th, in this room at 10 a.m. Any questions from the press before Commissioner Pipe? Okay, all right. Okay, we'll turn it over to Mike at this point.
Well, I appreciate, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to offer some brief remarks, just as today is my last Tuesday business meeting with the county, and fantastically bittersweet, I shall say. And but I just wanted to offer some thank yous. Because it's been, somebody pointed this out to me the other day. I had to do the math on this. I took office January 2nd, 2012, was sworn in alongside Commissioner Dersham. As of my last day will be Saturday. That's 4,031 days. Yeah, so that's, time flies when you are having fun. I did want to just run through a lot of thank yous. I first want to thank my wife Ashley and daughter Brenna. They've been fantastic supporters of me as commissioner and doing all the things we do. I've spent more time some days with the people in this room than them, and I really thank them for that. I love them tremendously, and really appreciate the support there. To the residents, the voters of Center County, it's been fantastic to be your commissioner. I've really loved the conversations we've had. Really, over the last 4,000 days, we've had a conversation about county government and all the services that are provided, and the important work that's done, and I really have enjoyed that conversation. The team that we have assembled, past and present and future, really is terrific. I think there's really have been an assemblage of really fantastic people that work day in and day out for the county. And, we meet an hour, 2, maybe 3 hours or 4 hours a week. But really, the vast majority of the work that happens at the county happens outside of these four walls. It happens because of the tremendous amount of people who do the work. So I really thank them. And one of the fun things that I was able to do was work alongside some of those employees during past years in the correctional facility, transportation, CYS, probation. It really gave me really appreciated the work that they do. It's hard work. Many of them are dedicated, have worked here for decades. And really appreciate all that they put in day out. To our department heads, there's a lot of tough decisions that folks have to make throughout their time as department heads, and really appreciate the energy that you put into making recommendations to the administrator, and it really means a lot for you to bring concerns and clarifications needed our way. To all of our ABC volunteers, I think each of us as commissioners serve on a variety of boards that are so important to county government, and we get compensated, but they don't. And the fact that they're willing to take an hour or two out of their week to discuss conservation district matters, matters related to agriculture, it's impressive. And so we can't run county government without you all. To CNET, to the folks at CNET, I thought when we joined, or I joined as a commissioner, every county had a CNET. They don't. We're rare. The fact that people can tune in live now and also see our recorded meetings is really impressive. So to Stephanie and everybody there, Cindy and Abby, thank you so much. To the public commenters, people who come in to offer us comments, we didn't have any today. I was hoping we did, but that's really a fantastic opportunity that we have here to be able to hear straight from people. They can tell us whatever they like, keeping it to 5 minutes provided. But it's a really fantastic thing that we offer, and I would encourage more people to utilize that. To the elected officials, thank you for running for office. It's a lot. It's a sacrifice. To my fellow commissioners, I've served with 3 great people: Chris Exarchos, Steve Dersham, and Mark Higgins. I've learned a lot from each of you.
And we've learned from you, too.
Absolutely. I made it 50% of the way through. I apologize. Take a second here. Who brought the tissues? Do you have any?
I don't have an old
Okay,
speech.
okay,
That's not going to work.
Oh, okay, I'll use my tie here to, I'll just do that. There you go. No, I'm okay. No, I just needed to give some thanks, Greg. I appreciate it. Thank you. I know we have events after this we have to get to, so no, I got some here.
That's
Hopefully,
right,
hopefully I don't
yes.
need to back up. I'll move on to other things. Thank you, Betsy. Thank you.
We could
A
fill in
drink
a
of
few
coffee.
blanks if
No,
that
no, a
would-
drink of coffee will be,
We could fill in some of the blanks if that would help.
Right.
no, 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 I just want to say, dialogue is so important nowadays, and we saw it today. The ability to have a conversation with people that are just completely different, have had different perspectives as you, and not to turn to violence. And it's so important. That's what our country's about. We really try to see eye to eye on things, or disagree. And it's I appreciate all the times that we've disagreed and haven't been able to see eye to eye, guys. I appreciate it. It really is important to be able to do the work we do and disagree amicably. It's been tough, especially during COVID and the elections, but there's been a great amount of collaboration we've had. Just wrapping up, it's been an honor to serve when it comes to infrastructure, public safety, criminal justice reform, and most importantly, our elections. It's been an honor. Thank you. I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much, Mike. I see why you saved this for last.
Sure, that's right. Yeah,
11 years of hard work.
thank you.
Of being on a very good team and helping to work super hard to make it great. I know 60 hours a week was kind of the minimum amount of time you tended to put in. And I know for myself, and I'm sure I'll let Steve comment in a minute, but it's just been so wonderful working with him, so wonderful.
Well, you are, I believe you are probably Center County's, you started as Center County's youngest commissioner. And I will say that you certainly have grown through that process over the last 11 years, and you've been very fair, and we've, as you've noticed, we've not always agreed, we've not always seen eye to eye, but we've always kept it, agreeable. So, and I think there's a lot to be said for being able to work through differences of opinion and differences in philosophy to make sure that what I would consider the importance of government, and that is to really move forward in some of the toughest environments that you can encounter. And I think we've all been there. And it's not just COVID. Some of the other discussions that we've had to have over the years have not always been comfortable. And whenever you run an organization that has literally hundreds and hundreds of people, there's always going to be conflict and challenges. But I think we've put together, I think, a very good leadership team in this county, and I think we have a lot to be thankful for and a lot to be proud of, and I think you own a good part of that. And I just want to recognize your accomplishments, but also just wish you well, because this is a big step for you and your family, and this is going to be this is going to be a change. You're going to go from maybe in a little smaller pond into a much bigger pond.
Absolutely.
But I will say, and I'll leave it at this, that I would appreciate that when you see a recognizable phone number come across your,
Yes.
we probably need you for something
Yes, we
in
do.
Yeah,
Harrisburg
you
that
have-
we would really
yes.
appreciate you picking up. So
Yes,
thank
you-
you, and good luck in all your future endeavor.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
And I would also be amiss if I didn't say, Amber, thank you for stepping up again, and we look forward to working with you as early as next week. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks again, Mike. So I believe, I thought Commissioner Pike made a motion.
I did. I'll make the
to adjourn
motion,
there.
just so we have it on the record. Make a motion at 10:59.
I will second that.
All right, all those in favor of adjourning the last Tuesday meeting for Commissioner Pipe, do so by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned.